Hey, hello, what's up, my people? All right, good to be back with you here. Thanks for coming across and coming back to the Marvin Mukaraka YouTube channel. I appreciate your presence, your participation, your support through subscription and likes and shares and comments. Please keep those coming. All right, I want to quickly get into what I want to talk about today. Bill Gates. Okay, first time I've had to talk about Bill Gates, by the way. Bill Gates, obviously, he's a man that needs no introduction. He became popular by establishing Microsoft, and all of us, the whole world, has benefited from those services. So, absolute kudos for that. But there's a dark side to this man. And the dark side actually blows all of his wonderful achievements, all his goodness and good standing, washes all of those things away by the wayside. And I want us to take a look at a few of those things. Now, for the sake of you being able to catch up, one, this man has a vision to depopulate the world. And his main target is Africa. For some reason, he thinks Africans are the ones who should die. He strictly outlines the fact that some people have to die because there's too many of us in the world. Now, there's one thing that is shocking about Bill Gates, and I'm going to share this at the end of this video. But let me just explain, the nitty-gritties, and then we'll get there. All right? So he feels the world should be depopulated. All right? And he's targeting particularly Africa. He's also looking at impoverished places in Asia. I'm not sure about Latin America, but obviously that would come in as well. All right? Now, I want to give you a few facts here that you might not know. First of all, there's been demonstrations against Bill Gates. There was a demonstration in Canada. Here it is. And then there was demonstrations in Africa as well. There's quite a number of women in Africa that have voiced concern and have just said Bill Gates is doing harm. All right, we don't have time to look at all of those materials, but all of this information you can find on the internet and social media. Now, here's what I find very interesting and hypocritical and a dark side of this man's life. Number one, he's talking about the fact that Africa is impoverished, and it's impoverished because there's too many people. Well, that's not true, because apparently Bill Gates doesn't know that the people that cause Africa to be impoverished are white people. It looks like Bill Gates doesn't know that. So as intelligent as he is, this is a history he's not aware of. All right? And then number two, European countries, white people, are still in possession of stolen goods from Africa in the museums, making money from those. They even have skulls. Skulls, for goodness sake. Skulls. So you see all of these things. Now, the third thing I want to highlight is the fact that even in America itself, there are problems. Apparently, Bill Gates doesn't know the problems that America has. Doesn't know that America also is impoverished or has poverty. In places like California, Bill Gates doesn't know that there are people in America who sleep in a vehicle, in a car, because they can't afford a home. He doesn't know that. Bill Gates doesn't know that there are street kids in America and street people who live on the streets. He doesn't know that. So that's why he wants to solve the poverty problem in Africa, because he doesn't know all of these things. He also doesn't know that 80% of Americans cannot afford health care. He doesn't know that. Here it is.
Do you happen to know which state has the highest real poverty rate in the country?
I don't know that, sir.
It actually happens to be California. And do you happen to know, according to a recent report from the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis, where California ranks when it came to net earnings growth this last year?
I don't know that off the top of my head.
California was 50th out of 50. So if our goals are to reduce unemployment, reduce poverty, and to increase wages, is California really the best model, given that it is the absolute worst in the country of the 50 states by all of these measures?
Again, Congressman, I think that there are lots of measures for for how well an economy is doing. My understanding, and I haven't worked in California now for 2 years, but is that by some measures, including recovery from the pandemic, including decrease in poverty over the last few years, recovering since the pandemic, that California has
Okay, I just want to reiterate, though, these were the very measures that you yourself cited in your own testimony. And your state of California, where you led the Labor Department, is doing the worst in the country.
I'm in Washington, D.C., blocks away from the White House, and there's homeless people living in this park. It's hard to imagine in this great country of ours that people cannot afford housing and live outside in tents. Tents are everywhere. I was here this summer, and walking up, I was hoping that there was less tents, meaning hoping that because it's cold, people are being moved inside. But homelessness continues to grow here and all over the United States. Rural communities, big cities, there's homelessness everywhere. We must fix the affordable housing crisis, and we must prevent and end homelessness.
China is raising people out of poverty. Our system is putting people into poverty. France is in flames. Britain is shivering with cold, with an increase in energy bills in households of 4 times the cost of heating this year as compared to last. In the United States, 80 million people have no health insurance. They talk about human rights. Where is the human right to a job in Western countries? Where is the human right to a house? Ask the growing numbers of people living in tents in San Francisco and in many other parts of the United States. Where is the human right to health?
So when you look at all of those things, you have to weigh in and start to think, what exactly is this man up to? Is this man okay? Is he okay? Is he really okay? All right, we'll keep that answer for another time, but let's move on. Now, last year, he made a trip to Kenya, because obviously this has to be done through research and all of that. And before I even show you a clip of this research, let me show you a clip of how his intentions, how Bill Gates' intentions were described at a forum on biotechnology. Take a look at this clip.
Where does any synthetic molecule serve the living?
They don't.
Right.
I mean, none.
And am I right in suggesting that a medicine, by definition, is something which contains synthetic molecules, something that is registered, patented, and put into the market as a medicine?
Absolutely.
Proper. Right. So what I'm learning from you, Dr. Young, is that a quadrillion-dollar enterprise is at work amongst us, decimating, culling the human family.
Intentionally.
Intentionally, using synthetic molecules, which by design are cancer, AIDS, all of the bogeymen we could dream up.
Yeah, it's for the purpose of sterilization and population control. There's too many people on the planet we need to get rid of. In the words of Bill Gates, at least 3 billion people need to die. So we'll just start off in Africa. We'll start doing our research there, and we'll eliminate most of the Africans because they're deplorable. They're worthless. They're not part of this world economy. So they have their rights taken away, and they're suppressed and they're experimented.
And the multilateral agencies and the health and regulatory so-called authorities and agencies appear in the main to have become weaponized and appear, I again use the word appear advisedly, we're not casting judgments here, we're taking depositions, listening to expert testimonies, appear to be weaponized and appear to be working in collusion against the living men and women of the soil. Is that a fair statement?
It is. It's not a bacterial war. It's a systemic poisoning war, and they're using chemical warfare against all of us.
They make it very clear. Bill Gates believes that Africans are worthless. They're not worth anything. And yet he is going to Africa to sweeten them, to convince them that he's doing a good thing, he's bringing a good service. You would think that nobody would even give this man an audience. But there are people who are giving him an audience in Africa. And top among those people giving this man an audience and giving him opportunity to do what he wants to do through whatever initiatives. I don't know how he coins his initiatives or what language he uses to convince them this is a good thing. Among those is William Ruto, President of Kenya. Of all people, William Ruto. Take a look at this.
Already, the digital ID, which has been a big problem to us for a very long time, is now on a testing mode for the next 2 months. I have been assured by all the stakeholders, led by the ministries concerned, that by December, we will be able to launch digital ID, where every Kenyan don't have to carry any paper, plastic or otherwise, as an ID, that they should be able to be identified digitally using their iris or their fingerprints, and we can transact. So,
this was, that clip you just saw of William Ruto was in August last year, 2023. I'm not sure how far things have gone, but I can imagine that these programs have advanced now. So we don't know what's going to happen, but I watched one of Bill Gates' videos where he talks about poverty and the solutions and things like that, which anything I've listened to from Bill Gates talking about solutions and whatever it is that he talks about, I cannot understand anything that he's saying. For me, just sounds mumbo jumbo, just using technological language to kind of just sound like he knows what he's doing. And I have the right to claim that he doesn't know what he's doing, because if he knew what he was doing, he would have ended poverty in America. He would have started by ending poverty in America. So, the last thing I want to say, which I find is the most shocking thing about Bill Gates. It seems to me, when I hear him speak, I don't even listen to him speak, to be honest. But sometimes I just get curious about certain things that he's saying. And even when I listened to some of, I think it was like 2 videos I watched the other night, I was just kind of curious, what is he talking about? How is he presenting this message? Because I don't even listen to what he says, because the things that he says to me don't make sense. Because first of all, they're not practical. And number 2, he's not practicing those things in his own country in America. So at the end of the day, he has no credibility. And even the deliberation of his solutions just doesn't make any sense. But when I was watching these 2 videos that 2 days ago or three days ago, somewhere there, all the comments I saw on YouTube were negative. People are angry with this man. They're literally asking, is this man sick? What is wrong with this man? A number of people were saying, leave Africa alone. Africa doesn't need your help. And they're absolutely right, because he's not helping. And again, this reminds us, when Europeans came to Africa, this is exactly how they came. They came under the pretext of bringing solutions. And then the continent ended up in slavery and colonization. This is exactly how it began. Because a number of people ask, how did people end up being colonized? I mean, how stupid could they have been? It's a mixture of things, to be honest. Stupidity is a part of it, but there's a lot of other things also involved. So now when I look at a man like William Ruto, before I go away, and I ask myself, how does a man in his normal frame of mind believe that this man is up to any good? Or even if he knows that this man is not up to any good, why is he giving him this platform? So you start to wonder, what would move a man to create that platform for this man? And I've come up with two theories. This man, William Ruto, is probably under the gun. That's the first thing. Number two, he is seriously bought. He's been bought. He's been assured, my brother, my friend, when you come out of office, you're going to live in dreamland. You'll be walking on gold and walking on money. Those are the only two things that can explain this. This man is probably under the gun. We know that these people work behind the scenes. William Ruto himself, some time back, told his people, because Africans were wondering, why do African leaders have to go and sit in front of one president to just listen to a speech? And William Ruto explained, and he said in his own words, he said, we are told there will be consequences if you don't come. Now, obviously, this is in line with the fact that there's been a tradition that we all know of African leaders being eliminated when they don't please the West. We've seen that happen time and time again. That's why I'm saying this man could be under the gun. It's a possibility. I don't know. Or he's been seriously bought. There again, we see a problem of Africans selling their own people. So, we don't know what the truth is. Those are the two possibilities, but we really don't know. We're all looking to see what is in this thing. What is going on here? And I'm sure at some point, the truth always comes out. At some point, the truth is going to come out. But, as I promised before I leave, I told you I'll let you know, or I'll tell you, the most shocking thing about Bill Gates. This man, it looks like, it seems he feels he's been given a mandate by God to control the whole world. He literally thinks he's God. Literally. Because who do you think you are to decide who should die and who should not die? Who do you think you are to decide how many people should be on the planet? The one who created the planet or the world hasn't said there are too many people. He hasn't said that. You, who is a citizen on earth like everyone else, what gives you the right to determine that some people need to die because there's too many people on the earth? That's what I find the most shocking thing about this man. But anyway, let me hear your thoughts. Give me ideas. If there's something you know that's going on that we all need to share in regards to knowledge, please let me know. I'll appreciate that. But I shared this video and this information to be able to spread this word around that, look, we need to look out for this guy. This guy is up to no good. His own people have said that. This is a man who wants to start making meat from rubber. Let me end there. Let me hear your comments, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.